Hi everyone. Hope you all are good. We are here for grade 7 math. You can find all the lessons on aplusstudents.com. You have to log in there using your email address and password is provided by the administrator. Then you have to select math from the subject tab. Scroll down to grade 7 math and then click on view all lessons. There you can find the list of the chapters. We're going to start with the chapter number theory. The lessons we're going to cover today are greatest common factor, least common multiple, GCF and LCM, GCF and LCM word problems, and scientific notation. So please make sure you have your notebook and pencil so that you can note down the important examples and definitions as well. So here I am on grade 7 math. Let's just start with the chapter greatest common factor. What is the greatest common factor of 4 and 9? 4 and 8, sorry. So basically, the greatest common factor is the largest number, that is the factor of each of two numbers, right? So we need to write down the prime factors of the number. How do we find the prime numbers? We need to divide the given number by the smallest prime number until we get the answer 1. So the prime factors of 4 are 2 times 2 and the prime factors of 8 are 2 times 2 times 2. So just look at their common factor. Their common factor is 2. This pair is common and this pair is common. So just multiply them. 2 times 2 makes 4. So 4 is the greatest common factor. Let's just start with the test questions. What is the greatest common factor of 4 and 16? So let's just write down the prime factors of 4. Sorry. So I'm going to write down the prime factors of 4 and the prime factors of 16. So the prime factors of 4 are 2 times 2 and prime factors of 16 are 2 times 2 times 2 times 2. So this pair is a common. This pair of 2 is a common. So 2 times 2 is 4. Basically 4 is the largest number that can divide both 4 and 16. Got it? So GCF is the greatest number that can divide both the given numbers. Got it? Let's just start with the test questions. Option number 1 is the correct option. What is the greatest common factor of 16 and 8? So let's just write down the greatest common factor of 16 and 8. So I'm going to write down the prime factors of 8 and then the prime factors of 16. So the prime factors of 8 are 2 times 2 times 2 and the prime factors of 16 are 2 times 2 times 2 times 2. So these are the common pairs. So the greatest common factor is 2 times 2 times 2. 2 times 2 is 4 and 4 times 2 is 8. Option number 1 is the correct option. The GCF is 8. What is the greatest common factor of 9 and 16? That is 3 times 3. And for the 16, they are 2 times 2 times 2 times 2. So we don't have any common number, right? So that means the GCF is 1. Option number 1 is the correct option. Option number 1 is the correct option. What is the greatest common factor of 6 and 14? So let's just write down the prime factors of 6 and 18. 2 times 3. 2 times 7 is 14. So the greatest common factor is 2. That is 2. Option number 1 is the correct option. What is the greatest common factor of 4 and 20? So the greatest factor of 4 and 20. So for 4 they are 2 times 2 and for the 20 they are 2 times 2 times 5. So the greatest common factor is that is 4. Option number 1 is the correct option. What is the greatest common factor of 8 and 2? 2 it is. Option number 2 is the correct option. Okay, you can complete the lesson by yourself later today. Let me just move on to next lesson. That is least common multiple. That is least common multiple. What is the least common multiple of 11 and 5? The least common multiple is the smallest whole number that is multiple of each of two numbers. 11 and 5 are prime numbers, right? You do not need to factor them. Multiply the prime numbers. 5 times 11 is 55. The least common multiple is 55. Let's just start with the test questions. What is the least common multiple of 6? Let's just write down the prime factors of 6 and 12. That is 2 times 3. 2 times 2 is 4 and 4 times 3 is 12. So the common multiples are 2 and 3 and the non-common multiple is 2. 2 times 2 is 4 and 4 times 3 is 12. So the correct option is option number 2. Option number 2 is the correct option, that is 12. What is the least common multiple of 11 and 6? So 11 is the prime number. When one of the number is prime, the least common multiple is the product of the given numbers. That means 11 times 6 is 66. Option number 1 is the correct option. What is the least common multiple of 6 and 9? 2 times 3 is 6 and 3 times 3 is 9. This is the common multiple and these two are the non-common multiples. 3 times 3 is 9 and 9 times 2 is 18. Option number 1 is the correct option. Option number 1 is the correct option, that is 18. What is the least common multiple of 4 and 12? That is 12. Option number 2 is the correct option. What is the least common multiple of 6 and 7? So 7 is the 7 times 6 is 42 because 7 is a prime number. Option number 1 is the correct option. What is the least common multiple of 12 and 9? That is 36. Option number 1 is the correct option. What is the least common multiple of 11? Option number 1 is the correct option. That is 110. Okay, you can complete the lesson by yourself later today. Let me just move on to next lesson. That is GCF and LCM word problems. I'm going to start with the test questions, right? Maki has 15 forks and 10 knives to place in silverware holders at the fast food restaurant where she works. She wants to distribute them equally with no forks or knife left over. What is the greatest number of silverware holders Maki can stock? So, greatest number means you need to find GCF. Let's just write down the prime factors. They are 3 times 5, 2 times 5. So the only common number is 5. So that means the GCF or the greatest number is 5. Option number 1 is the correct option, that is 5. Ariel and Sadie are training for a marathon. Ariel runs 3 kilometers at a time while Sadie prefers to run in blocks of 9 kilometers. At the end of a month, they realize that they have run same total number of kilometers, but is the smallest number of kilometers that each must have run. 3 and 9, the smallest number, right? So 1 times 3 is 3 and 3 times 3. So that is 3 times 3. The correct option is 9. Option number 1 is the correct option, that is 9 kilometers. Rick wants to display 20 photos and 10 drawings he owns in groups, with each group having the same combination of photos and drawings and none left over. What is the greatest number of groups Rick can display? So you need to find the GCF. Let's just write them down, the prime factors. So they are the common number. 2 times 5 is 10. So the GCF is 10. Option number 1 is the correct option. That is 10 groups. Jasper Stationery sells cards in pack of 9 and envelopes in packs of 7. If Herschel wants the same number of each, what is the minimum number of cards he will have to buy? Minimum number. So 9 times 7 makes 63. Option number 1 is the correct option. 7 is a prime number. Both of them, no, 7 is a prime number. So 9 times 7 is 63. Carmen buys strawberry gum in pack of 12 pieces and blueberry gum in pack of 6 pieces. If Carmen wants to buy the same amount of each type of gum, what is the smallest number of pieces of each flavor that she must buy? The smallest number is 12. Option number 2 is the correct option. Okay, you can complete the lesson by yourself later today. Let me just move on to next lesson. That is scientific notation, so let's just start with the lesson. How do you write 4.2 times 10 exponent 5 in standard form? 4.2 times 10 exponent 5. So the exponent of 10 is 5. 4.2. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So move the decimal point from here to here. That is 420,000. Let's just start with the test. How do you write 7.19 times 10 exponent 3? So 10 exponent 3. 3 means you need to move decimal point Three places left. 1, 2, 3. Move decimal from here to here. That is 7,190. Option number 2 is the correct option. How do you write 8.6 times 10? 5 in standard? 1.6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Move decimal point from here to here. That is 860,000. Option number 1 is the correct option. How do you write 4.82 times 10 exponent 4? That is 4.82. Then you need to add two zeros. 1, 2, 3, 4. So you need to move decimal point from here to here. 48,208 is option number. Option number 1 is the correct option. That is 48,200. Option number 2 is the correct option. How do you write 640 in scientific notation? The decimal point is here. Move two places back. 6.4 times 10 exponent 2. Option number 1 is the correct option. How do you write 1.57 times 10 exponent 1? So you need to move decimal point 1 point left. Right, so that is 1, that is 15.7. That is 15.7. Option number 2 is the correct option. Okay, you can complete the lesson by yourself later today. So we were working on grade 8 math. The chapter we were working on is number theory. The lessons we have covered today are greatest common number, greatest common factor, least common multiple, GCF and LCM word problems, and scientific notation. So please make sure before the next session you can complete all the practice questions for the lessons we just did. That is your homework until next session. So if you need more help with any of the lessons, you can simply click on the live chat button. Tutors are available there to help you. Or either you can write them down in the chat box. I'm here to answer all your questions and confusions if you have any. So, any questions? No questions? Then that's all for today. See you in the next session. Bye, everyone.